This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
And boom!
Common man, no show pep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. Yes, a daring approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
You know, sometimes when you practice, you'll set up chairs. You know, and you run through chairs just to show zones and stuff. The Viking defense looks like it's chairs.
The system is working the way it should work.
Multi-action offensive sets.
What are you doing?
That's ridiculous.
We can't start winning until we stop losing.
Order battle!
In fact, isn't Milwaukee an Indian name? Yes, Pete, it is. Actually, it's pronounced Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land.
Nuts and bolts, we got screwed!
Time for 2 more questions, guys.
That was probably Zimmer being Zimmer.
I'm going to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
Jet lag disadvantage.
Stand up, Ford Field! Stand up!
I'm unlimited, Mr. Unlimited.
Welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
I really never left the spotlight, quite frankly. Don't call me Frank.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
Little ack and ack to you and yours. Wow. Is it Was Up Wednesday. It's also a Wet Blanket Wednesday. And you know what? When you are gifted wet blanket material, you don't ask who, what, why, where, and when or now, or you're just thankful both the Minnesota Twins and the Minnesota Timberwolves are smack dab in the middle of where you broadcast from. We have so much to get to today. The Twins, injury-riddled Twins, a bad loss last night. The Wolves surrender a 40-point lead and get crushed by the Milwaukee Brewers. It's the day before the Masters is set to begin. There's controversial Vikings news. There's so much to get to today. I'm not sure where to begin. Let's spin the wheel of topics.
Wheel of
I want to start with the Wolves. I feel like talking Wolves today for some reason. I don't know why.
Commons golf game.
Wow, that came out of left field or the left rough for a fairway bunker on the right side of the green. 81.
Where'd we play?
A Loggers Trail.
Where'd you hit it on? One.
Right up the gut.
How far from the green were you?
I had 8-iron in my hand.
Second shot?
Missed the green right. Terrified. Well, terrified because I've been chipping so bad. So what I did, it's a practice round. I kind of cheated. Before I hit that shot, I went and dropped a couple of balls around the green and my chipping, it's like I got chip yipped so bad. I'm like standing over the ball, just frozen, and I either scull it or flub it, right? And I hit a couple of decent pitches. Then I went over to the ball I was playing, and I flubbed it and ran up the hill and back down.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah, so it didn't matter anyways. Well, then I did hit a nice chip up to about 2 feet, make the putt, made bogey. But one thing that I did discover from the round today, Tenneby, I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
I have been of the opinion, I think maybe the esoteric approach isn't always right. It doesn't pertain to everything. And here's what I'll tell you. I'm giving in. One of my pet peeves in the Common Man Pet Peeve Shop pet peeves is, well, we played back-to-back games. Well, we came out flat. Oh, we went 3 different time zones. The excuse computer, the excuse is that professional teams, college teams, whatever the case may be, it's never that we just played poorly. It's never that we're not any good. There's always an excuse. And I've decided I've fought it enough. I fought the good fight for years, Tenneby, and I've decided that I'm going to come around to that. I played yesterday afternoon. If you remember, I dashed out of this place, this radio station. I was in my car in the parking ramp before 3:00. That's how quickly I left. I had everything picked up. I ran out of the studio, ran down the 5 flights of stairs from the 5th floor, the fire exit right over here to the left, went down, got in the car, drove there, 3:45 tee time, rolled up at Prestwick at Wedgwood and Woodbury at 3:40 on the box at 3:45. They were doing tryouts, high school tryouts for Eastridge, and they were going off the front. I tapped one of the Eastridge golf coaches on the shoulder and said, not only do I have 4 years of college eligibility remaining, but 2 of high school. So I've heard was the response. I said, why don't you come and let's do a little trial. Why don't you give me a look-see? Go over to 10, because everybody's going off 1, so the pro shop said go off 10. You'd be much better. It was wide open on the back. Just where do you think I hit it off the first tee on 10? Right up the gut. I just bombed it up the gut. And you could see...
10's a little more intimidating first shot than 1 is.
Yes. So. Golf, because you have the fairway bunkers right. You have forced carry. If you hit it poorly, you can knock it in that. You shouldn't hit it in the pond, but it encroaches, great word, encroaches on the left. I just bomb it. So I've piqued his curiosity. He comes down to the fairway. I come over the top on a hybrid, knock it into the pond, end up taking a 7. I turn around to see he's gone. I can see he's walking away. So there went my tryout. I'm not going to be playing for Eastridge High School. I will not be going back to school. I played as bad as I've played in years. I was flubbing chips. 8 was my 17th hole. I hit a beautiful drive. I got 70 yards. I'm short. It rolls back down. I chunked 4 wedges in a row that went not more than a foot and rolled right back down to me. I'm not an afternoon golfer.
You've got to be kidding me.
That's what it is. I'm not an afternoon. It has nothing to do that I'm terrible, that I've got the chip yips, that I'm having all sorts of issues. I'm really not as good as I think I am. I'm a great player. I'm a really good player when I play early in the morning. I can't play in the afternoons. Now, wouldn't most people say that's preposterous?
Yeah, you'd think.
But wouldn't you also say it's preposterous that we went to a different time zone and that's why we lost? Or we came out flat? Or the air was thinner. It's all preposterous. But you know what? I'm tired of holding myself to a higher standard than everybody else. So I'm just going to go along with that. The reason I was terrible yesterday has nothing to do with me being a terrible player with a terrible short game. I hit the driver actually pretty well. Can't putt. I'm down to about I'm a better putter than about 2% of those people on the PGA Tour. No, I still make a
Scotty
few.
Scheffler being one of them.
Or Scotty Scheffler being. I still make a few putts here and there. I got some talent, tend to be. But it has nothing to do with me being bad. It's just I can't play in the afternoons. Now, how preposterous is that? But you know what? Everybody else has an excuse. I'm going to use it.
Technically, your energy levels might be different at that time of the day. Right? Your eating habits have changed.
Mine haven't changed. I always eat lunch at 1 o'clock. I'm going to go with it. Anytime I play poorly or I don't succeed in something, I'm going to come up with an excuse or a fall guy. Brett Blakemore could be I love Brett Blakemore. He played. We were a threesome. And you know why I only play a threesome when I play with Brett Blakemore? Because he plays like two people. He's the slowest player on the planet. Gets up to the ball and has this pre-shot routine that is, if he's listening, he's going to be mad because I didn't say anything to him. It's this pre-shot routine and then he's a guy, like you've got the mark on your ball, right, to aim it up toward. He may as well get out a level and whatever else is. It takes him forever to line that thing up, and it's like, I want to tell him, I don't say anything.
I only do it on the dry off the tee now. With lining it up.
It's like, you're too mechanical. Be a field player. Nick Faldo was very mechanical. Nick Faldo has 6 majors. You're mechanical and you're terrible. Stop it. Just go up and hit the ball.
What if you don't have any feel?
Yeah, you're right. Well, then, you know what? Take 2 weeks off and quit. I don't know what else to tell him. I love him, though, because he plays so hard. He's comfortable hitting it farther. He can bomb the ball when he catches it. He plays a game off the tee with which I'm not familiar. Of course, that probably has to do with he's 28 years old and he's strapping and he's strong. And I'm 66 and I've got this old man swing. Ted, I got a question for you about the Masters, and I know the answer to this one. Nobody that has ever won the par 3 tournament on Wednesday has gone on to win the Masters that year.
Yeah.
I know your answer. If you were playing in the Masters and you were standing on the 9th tee, needing a par, it's a 90-yard shot, 120, 130, whatever it is, 170. Easy, sorry, didn't want to use the word easy. Not a very difficult shot for you. And if you make par, you're going to win the par 3 tournament. You're a tryhard. You're a sweaty. You would try to hit that close and even make birdie. Me, I'd block it out on Magnolia Lane. I'd hit it. Matter of fact, I'd hit it onto Washington Street, which of course is the road that you exit to get onto Magnolia Lane. That's what I would do. Because I want no part of that jinx. There's a reason why no one's ever won. And I know, well, Common, you say just because this hasn't happened or that doesn't mean it can't. These are the golf gods. This is Augusta National Golf Club. When you have to say patrons, do you know you're not allowed, or you're highly discouraged, and you can't call it a driving range if you're on television. You have to call it the tournament practice area. You're forced to. You have to call them patrons. You can't call them fans. You know what else you can't say at Augusta National? You can't call it the back nine. They have another word you have to say. It's like the second half of the golf. It's just, they're so full of themselves over there. And I got another question about the Masters where it's controversial.
That's interesting.
And then, of course, it is a Wet Blanket Wednesday, and boy, there's plenty to throw the blanket on. We'll break. We'll come back with a little Distat Lat here on KFAN.
Minneapolis, get ready for a night of pure magic with Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers. It's happening on April 10th at the Orpheum Theater. Don't miss out. Enter for your chance to win tickets now at KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
Do you really think it's pure magic? I mean, I know that's what you were told to read.
Yeah.
I've always liked Bill Murray.
I'm just the messenger.
I've always liked Bill Murray. Cinderella story, but a Cinderella kid. I mean, I get it. I just don't know if it's magical, but we'll go with that. It is magical. Peek at the Purple. You know, the Peek at the Purple, it's like we probably should change the name for, well, there's nothing going on. This is, because Aaron Rodgers hasn't signed yet. I don't think we've signed any more free agents. There's really no news to report. But Peek at the Purple brought to you by Affordable Electric. Protect your home against lightning and power company surges with a whole house electrical safety inspection from Affordable Electric. Nick will install a whole house surge protector and use individual surge protectors on sensitive electronics. If you're doing a kitchen or a bathroom remodel, you'll need an electrician, and family-owned and operated Affordable Electric is the perfect choice. Reach out today. It's easy to do. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. Any purple stuff? It looks like you were frantically looking.
When in doubt, I just looked at Seifert and Gessling's Twitter accounts, and there is nothing.
There is nothing. So I guess we could just talk about, we could call it...
what if I just go to Google and hit in Minnesota Vikings and click on news? One prospect Viking should hope Bears, Packers, and Lions don't draft.
Ooh. Could we do a look at the losers and then just talk about the Twins and the Wolves? It takes
bad losses.
It takes more than a second or a segment to talk about them. By the way,
Shaq Griffin is visiting the Seahawks.
Ooh.
Cornerback Shaq Griffin.
Okay.
His former team.
Who is the guy that we hope the rest of the division doesn't draft? Hercules?
Let me click on it.
The Incredible Hulk? I mean, what? I mean, on all of it, that's just, we bit. It's clickbait. We've decided we're going to go ahead and give it a try. It's like, there's not one player out there that's going to make you, we tremble in fear. Who would that player be?
So this is from Will Ragetz. It's through SI.com. Okay. So just one prospect for the Vikings should hope Bears, Packers, and Lions don't draft. For the Bears, at number 10, they have Ashton Genty, who is the running back out of Boise State. He's expected to be a stud running back.
He's unstoppable is what he is. Your mama can't stop him. Your daddy can't stop him. The police can't stop him. B-Flow's defense certainly can't stop him.
For pick number 23, he hopes the Green Bay Packers don't draft Tedoroa McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona.
He'll be gone. You know who's going to take him? The Bears with that first pick. That's the strange part.
And then he's hoping the Lions at number 28 don't take Shamar Stewart, defensive lineman out of Texas A&M.
Well, didn't Will hear? The Lions have given all their draft picks back to the league. They say they don't need them, and they feel bad for other teams. We always talk about it's not our team's responsibility to put the other team's roster together. The Lions feel badly that the other rosters in the division aren't very good, so they're giving all of their picks back. So there's your peek at the purple. Are brought to you by our friends at Affordable-Electric. Affordable-Electric.com. And remember, Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. This is one of those hypotheticals that's never going to happen, but I want to ask you anyways, Tenneby. Are you familiar with John Harris?
John Harris.
You know the name. I mean, it's a very pull a Rosen now and quickly Google it and then see if it. How about yesterday? Can I bust him for it? And I'm sure everybody knew this ahead of time. And you saw it right away. You were looking at me through the window.
It's not the first time we've seen this.
Yeah. So here's what happens. So he talks about how Dylan, he went to the Dylan concert, and Dylan didn't play any of his hits, right? He just played stuff off this new album, and he played the piano harmonica, blah, blah, blah. Then he talked about how now he's going to go see AC/DC, which I didn't believe, but he says apparently Karn wants to go see AC/DC. So then Rosen, to try to make a difference, to differentiate, to talk about what will be different about the Dylan concert and the AC/DC concert, is he says, well, AC/DC is going to play their hits. He looks down at his iPad, and he's got those three names of the most popular songs pulled up on his iPad.
Thunderstruck, Hell's Bells, Back in Black.
Yeah, he's staring at it. Reading them. And that's, he's trying to pull the wool over the eyes, or actually over the ears, as it were, of the listeners to convince them that Mark knows so much about everything. He couldn't identify an AC/DC song if AC/DC was playing. It's the most fraudulent, and I think what his issue is, he doesn't want anybody to think he doesn't know something about everything or know everything about something.
Yeah.
You can just say, going because my wife wants to go and I'm a good husband and partner and friend and I'm going to go. I don't know any AC/DC songs. He doesn't know any AC/DC songs. He looked down at the iPad. And you know what that comes from? Well, I know how this works. It's all TV related. Local television, news department, sports department, weather, they meet with consultants. I've talked about this before. And the consultants tell them, You must be like the viewers. You live in the same town. You shop at the same, hell, you practically live at Kowalski's. You shop at the same stores. You drive the same roads. You feel the same emotions they do. The joy of a local victory by the local team and the devastation when they lose. Then they'll feel like, boy, I like those people on TV. They're just like me, and I think I'll tune in, right? So you have to know something about everything, because if you say what I did, I took the risk of not only annoying, but maybe making AC/DC fans hate me by saying I wouldn't go see AC/DC if they were playing in my backyard. I'm just telling the truth of how I feel. That doesn't mean they're not any good. AC/DC doesn't.
I like
care.
some of their songs, and I wouldn't want to go to their concert.
And I don't like any of their songs, and I wouldn't go to their concert. But instead of just admitting that I don't know any AC/DC, so it's okay if you don't know. You looked at me right away. You saw him doing it. We just both just shook our head. He's reading. They're going to play their hits. What were they again? Thunderstruck,
Hell's Bells,
and Back in Black. And he's reading them off the list. John Harris was a insurance salesman. He used to sell insurance, and he used to live in Edina. He won the 1993 United States Amateur. If you're the amateur champion, you play in the Masters the next year. So John Harris played in the Masters in 1994. He also was invited, remember, you can't just pony up the money and go to Augusta National Golf Club and say, I'd like to join. I have enough money to join, whatever that downstroke is. I'm not sure what it is. You have to be invited to be a member at Augusta. And John Harris was invited to be a member of Augusta National Golf Course. For argument's sake, Tenneby, now you have to really, second day in a row I've used this phrase. This will strain credulity. You really have to use your imagination. Let's say you ran into John Harris and he said, Tenneby, I'd like to take you to Augusta National Golf Club to play a round of golf. And you're able to take one person with you. Who would that person be, Tenneby? Notice I'm standing up smiling.
I see that. Well, I don't know if I'd be your one person. So let's flip that on you before I answer. If you could take one person to Augusta National with you, who would you take?
You might be the 8th or 9th alternate if the other people turn it down.
I'm 9th on your top 10 friends to Augusta list.
Yeah. I'd probably have to invite my brother. It's brotherly love.
I would maybe take Dr. Doug.
You know what? I thought about this, and I was going to say you would take Dr. Doug. That would be my guess. Yeah. And I don't blame him because he's a very good friend of yours. He plays golf.
He takes me to other Posh and Tony golf clubs.
Exactly. I've taken you to a couple of Posh and Tonys over the year. It would have to be my brother. It's the brotherly love thing. Though now a very close second would be baby brother Peter because he loves golf so much, right? He's now studying Augusta National Golf Course, so he knows more about. And then there's
maybe 8, 9, 10 years from now I'm taking my boy Samson.
Yeah,
but right now.
And then there's Worlds would be on the list. My nephew, Alex
Brett Blakemore.
Jr. Well, that's only if I can take two people. Because he plays at the pace of two people. So John Harris would have to say, you can bring two people with you to fill out the force. And then it would be me, Brett Blakemore, and John Harris.
Yeah,
that's how it would be. Let's wet blanket everything. Wet blanket the Wolves, wet blanket the Twins, the whole thing. We'll do that next here on the Common Man program here on The Fan.
It's our final Michelob Ultra Wolves watch party of the regular season. Join Max Fuller this Thursday at Brian's Bar and Grill in Stillwater at 8 p.m. to watch your Timberwolves in action and to sign up for your chance to qualify for first-round playoff tickets this season. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Cue your calendar.
A lot of different ways to get a hold of us here on The Fan. By the way, earlier today, China announced 84% tariffs on U.S. goods in a showdown with Trump. Europe also hits back. I've just been informed, though, that Trump is now putting a hold on the tariffs for 90 days. Did you hear that, Tenneby?
I think I just saw that, a pause.
Yeah, a pause on them.
Other than against China, though.
It's a negotiating tactic. Make America great again. I sure hope it works. I've always said that all along. Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter to me. Let's try to get along. Let's try. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then we just throw them out and bring somebody else in. We'll see how it works out. I didn't even bother checking my 401k, and I don't think you did either. It doesn't do you any good. You would just make.
I very rarely check it because it doesn't do any good to me.
No, it would just make you cry. There's a number of different ways to get a hold. A lot of different ways to get a hold of us here on the Fan. 1-800-320-5326. We won't answer it. Booth at KFAN.com. Email address. Also, the KFAN Talkback is a new feature, not really new, but a relatively new force. Download the iHeartRadio app if you haven't already. Search for stations, find the Fan. There's a microphone icon in the corner of the screen. Tap it 30 seconds or less to send us an audio message. And then there's the tried and true Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, also known as the Holla Hotline at 64686. And Teneby, I answered a text message question with a question. Jake in Cannon Falls text, maybe Rosen knows the songs, just not the names, which I responded with, you can't be serious.
It's hard to remember Thunderstruck.
Oh, it's just too good. I
have that problem at times, right?
Yeah,
where you know the song, but you can't remember the exact name.
Yeah, I get that. In most cases, in 99 out of 100 people, that's the case with Rosen. It's just not. But we'll see. Maybe he can defend himself a little bit later today if he even wants to.
Also, like Thunderstruck and Back in Black are not like tricky names. Yeah,
you wouldn't.
Like if you listen to the song, it'd be pretty obvious.
Yeah. Headline Fish Wrap Factory. And here's what's interesting, Teneby. I have my perfect record is intact. I have not watched any Minnesota Timberwolves basketball to this year, though I'm just kicking myself for not watching that fourth quarter.
I watched the last 3 minutes last night.
Really?
Yeah, it's about the most I've watched this year.
I'm just kicking myself for not watching that last quarter. That had to have been just delicious. And so I was dozing in out of the couches. I was watching live from, and I was dozing in and out. And one of my basketball sources texts me at 8:47. This is so beautiful because he's a big Wolves fan. He loves all the local teams, right? Looks like there won't be much Wolves talk tomorrow on the Grum. Gelling and stacking because the accusation, and maybe there is some truth to it. If the Wolves win, you don't hear much about the Wolves on this show. When they lose, it's basically wall to wall. It almost turns into big ticket show, right? And we talk a lot of NBA. That was at 8:47. Looks like there won't be much Wolves talk tomorrow on the Grum, gelling and stacking at 9:10. Or maybe there will be Wolves talk after all. And then at 9:26, and it's a wet blanket Wednesday, it's perfect.
I always love that one.
And I said, what went wrong? And I saw this at 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 when I woke up on the couch and I checked. They were outscored in the fourth quarter 40-13.
Yes.
And so it now makes the comeback against OKC pale in comparison. I mean, the OKC comeback was nice, but it ain't nothing like this. I don't think, or maybe it's identical because they were both about the same amount of points. But here's what's Chris Hine, Fish Wrap Factory West Side, writes, Wolves. Timberwolves squander 24-point lead in 110-103 loss to the Bucks. The Wolves committed 9 turnovers in the fourth quarter and went 8 minutes, 34 seconds without a field goal. What do they think? They're the Duke Blue Devils for crying out loud? But here's what's crazy. They're in denial in Timberland. Dateline Milwaukee. In the Timberwolves locker room after their worst fourth quarter collapse of the season following a disastrous 110-103 loss to the Bucks, there were no raised voices, no heads down. There was plenty of chatter and even some laughter. Not what most might expect after the team gave away a 24-point lead in the fourth. Here's what Ant said. We good. I mean, it's part of the game. Of course, we didn't want to lose, but we can't be in bad spirits because we know we need to win the next game. So we can't really think too much about it. It happened. I don't think we feel too down about it. No big deal. Chris Finch, as Chris Hine points out, can be blunt in post-game news conferences when his team doesn't play well, but he did his best job. They must have gotten together and said, let's just shrug this off. And maybe that's what you have to do. Let's just write this one off and pretend it didn't happen. It's a bad fourth quarter against the zone defense. I don't think it's a microcosm of the season. Not exactly, but it's part and parcel of what they've been doing. You know, playing down to their competition, if you want to call it that. Not trying hard enough. Hero ball. Not getting back on defense. It just all this has been. I'm even surprised they're even in the playoff race, as bad as it's been from times to times. Then I love what Hine wrote. It wasn't just a bad fourth quarter against that zone defense. It looked like the Wolves had never seen one before. It must have looked like that. I didn't see it. I wished I would have. The numbers will put fans in a bad mood again. 9 fourth quarter turnovers, 4 of 20 from the field. Wolves went 8 minutes, 34 seconds without a field goal after going ahead 95-71 with 10:09 to play. The Bucks scored 23 consecutive points over the next 5 minutes and 13 seconds. Bad pass after bad pass. They settled for threes. And Milwaukee capitalized on a lot of those miscues. The Greek Freak had 13 of his 23 in the fourth. Kevin Porter Jr. had 12 of his 21. Julius Randle said, as frustrating as it is, we can't let it linger into the next game. We don't have time for that now. I believe in this team. I believe we will do it. We just got to do it. That's just not knowing what to say, right? I believe we'll do it. We just got to do it. They don't know what to say. And I guess after a game like that, what is there to say? I guess I'll give them that out. What do you say? Edwards said, we know we need the next game. Team we play next is fighting for a playoff spot. It's game over. We ain't really tripping. I ain't really tripping. I'm mad we lost, but I can't do nothing about it. Well, you could maybe have put up a defensive stand or two in the game, or maybe ran the offense properly.
Don't turn the ball over.
And don't settle for threes. Just try to finish the game. You could have done something. Of course, after the fact, you can't. But you could have during the game, I would have thought. I know we need the next game. Next game is bigger than this. Well, the only reason it's bigger than this is because if you would have lost that game, this next game probably wouldn't be quite as big. Still would be big.
It'd still be big, yeah.
Memphis, but it wouldn't be quite as big.
But now there's more desperation.
Yes, and because all the other teams are chasing all won yesterday, they took care of business. They took a professional approach to the fourth quarter in their games. Jimmy Butler, who has been maligned here, hated by Timberwolves fans, was they were serious last night, and he and Steph and Draymond et al., they blew out their competition. The Clips won their game. Memphis won their game. These are teams that took care of business. They didn't collapse in the fourth quarter. Here's the quote. This is my favorite quote out of the locker room. It's Ant. Here's what he said. It says, Edwards marveled at the Bucks' length and making it difficult for the Wolves to do anything against the zone, especially with Antetokounmpo as part of it. Here's what Ant said. It's kind of confusing sometimes because it's way different than playing a zone in AAU. Yeah. It's different, Ant. This ain't AAU bad. You ain't playing grassroots sizzle. You ain't playing Howard Pulley. You ain't playing against D1 Minnesota, and those are all good AAU programs. They're terrific.
You're not playing Pop Warner.
You ain't playing Pop Warner. You're playing in the NBA. This ain't the same kind of zone as you see in the AAU. Then he goes on to say, everybody's 6'8", got a 7-foot wingspan. It was like a 3-2. I don't know what they was in. It definitely worked. They don't even know what.
They haven't seen that before?
I guess not. They have no idea what they were doing.
Well, they played like they hadn't seen it before.
That's exactly right. Finch said, it's on me. I got to get us better shots. While the team admitted it had to move the ball better. Dante DiVincenzo said, we have to acknowledge what happened, but don't let the world blow up just because of this. We have to respond on Thursday. And I know I get all that, but it just no real, it doesn't sound like there's really much still taking responsibility for it, or it just, it's why I've had so many doubts on this team, you know, and it's like, I'm as, I like the local teams. I know people think I don't. I would it'd be delightful if we could build this thing together, could stand strong forever, and nothing's going to stop us now. But and it's all the teams. It seems like they always, it's always an excuse. It'd be like me saying, Tenneby, well, the reason I played poorly at Pressbrook yesterday is because I'm not an afternoon golfer. I'm only good in the morning. I mean, how preposterous is that? I was terrible yesterday because I was terrible. It had nothing to do with the time of the day I played. If you're good at what you do, it doesn't matter. Morning, noon, or night, day or night, left or right, good or bad, right or wrong. If you're good at what you do, you're you. And you close out that game last night. You're someone that's agreeing. See, this is the thing. This is, you are, when you're in, what is it when you are, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're enabling.
Sure.
Common, the only thing the Wolves can do is flush the loss to the Bucks down the toilet. And as embarrassing as it was, just went out. Well, yeah. But these are the best players in the world. This isn't AAU, where you have young kids. You don't have all the experience. And AAU teams are all thrown together from different high schools around the Twin Cities, right? You know, you play with your high school team. You know, your travel team is basically that same core of kids that you play with all the time for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. Now, it changes through 8th grade. It changes. You know, sometimes some kids don't make the A team and they're on the B team. And sometimes a guy makes the A team and goes back to B or goes from B to A. But it's the same core group of people, and you get used to who you're playing with. AAU, it's like, not necessarily saying it's an all-star system, but you could play with a couple of kids from De La Salle, and you could play, a kid from Eastridge could be there, and then there could be a couple of kids from Minnetonka. They're just kids from all over the place. And so there you don't know each other as well, and you're not as experienced and younger. And you can excuse being outscored 24 points or 40-13 in the fourth quarter. And then at least I don't know.
Well, and I tuned in last night with 3 minutes and change left in the fourth quarter. So I missed the 23-0 run. When I tuned in, it was a tie game, and Anthony Edwards was going to the free throw line. It must have been I missed right before that. It must have been a technical foul or something.
Okay.
Hits the free throw. They're up one. They're up one with possession with 3 minutes left when I tune in, right? And you're thinking, all right, well, disappointing you gave this up. You still got a shot. And next possession, awful turnover around the 3-point arc.
Yeah.
Easy bucket for Milwaukee. They're in the lead. Next possession down. Julius Randle. Awful pass. Trying to throw to Anthony Edwards. Gets picked off. Easy fast break point for Milwaukee. And then the next possession, missed three. I think it was Giannis, the Greek freak, who threw it down to a teammate. Fast break. So they had just 3 awful possessions, but that also just led to just very easy points. Like just putting up nothing defensively against Milwaukee. And all of a sudden, ball game was over at that point. And Edwards also had another terrible pass later on when they were down 6-7 points. I think he went to pass to Naz Reid on 3-point arc, completely missed him. So just inept offense.
To your point from the 9-5-2, I seriously think the biggest problem with the Wolves, especially this year, is lazy bleeping passes. If I see one more slow pass in crunch time, I might go down to the court myself and start throwing basketballs as hard as I can at every one of the players. So to your point, exactly what you said. That's exactly what he saw. And then there's this one. I don't even think Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond played in their fourth quarter last night because they didn't need to, because they took care of business.
We were 5 minutes from not needing to. We're up 24 with 10 minutes to go. And I will say, a lot of people, now granted, I did not watch the 23-0 run again, so maybe that would have changed the way I viewed last night's game. But there's a lot of people that are upset with the fact that the Wolves didn't seem upset in the post-game comments, that they seem pretty chill about it. And, not great, but we're going to get ready for the next one. I will say, this it's not like they were in rock bottom territory. They just won 5 in a row.
Yeah.
They played 3 brilliant quarters leading into it, right? It's not one of those games where there was a lack of effort, lack of concentration that we see in somebody. They just flat out did not execute. So it's hard to have a complete meltdown. I understand why they would be like, yeah, that stunk, and they probably are not happy about it, but they don't need to go crazy about it.
Yeah.
They're probably confused because they played 3 great quarters. They were all over them.
Dazed and confused, maybe. I don't know. It's inexcusable to me. I know every once in a while it's going to happen. It happened, I guess, and Randall says, I know we can do it. We just got to do it. Well, you had a chance to do it last night. You had a 24-point. Can you trust him with any lead? I don't know. That's why I can't. It's just.
Well, their inconsistency has been the problem all year long.
Come and give them a break. Don't you know that they just got done with an East Coast road trip? Their circadian rhythms are off. I guess it could be.
I always love that one.
Common, we don't hear you giving praise. We don't hear you giving praise when we came back against OKC, same deficit. You have to move on. This isn't that big of a deal. Make sure you give praise after the first playoff win. Well, I will. Of course I will. I don't think we're getting out of the first round. I think we're destined for the 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're going to lose the first game. We're going to get beat.
Well, then if you lose that first game, if you're in the 7-8 and you lose,
you
now
one more chance.
Now you're playing one and done. But even if you win, you got OKC first round.
Yeah.
Which I get. If you want to win the whole thing, you got to go through OKC eventually. But if you can avoid them, you'd like to.
This Wolves team hasn't played that many games together yet with all the injuries. No excuse for blowing a 24-point lead. Just fix it before the playoffs. Okay, that's going to be easy.
Only 3 games left.
3 games left. Let's get her fixed. That's what I've been saying all year. I've been waiting for them to gel. I don't know. You know what? It would be a remarkable story because do you like parades, Tenneby? I love parades. I've been the Grand Marshal of the parade, and you were right by my side. We did a live broadcast from the St. Patrick's Day parade down in. We did the first 15 minutes of our show live from the back of a pickup truck. I think we were in. I don't remember what we were riding in. I'd love it. It would be a wonderful story for a team that was having so much trouble putting it together. Ups and downs, highs and lows. Really more lows than highs. Injuries, whatever you want to blame it on, and to be able to come back and get into postseason playing, make a run to the Western Conference Finals, or maybe win the whole thing. I don't know. It'd be great. I just have my doubts it's even going to get close to that. I don't know. This one. My buddy texted me at 8:46. I'm going to say it now. We are winning the West. At 9:07, he followed up with, what are we doing? What just happened?
Things change quickly, don't they?
Common Wolves reverted back to old habits. Wait, hold on. I'm getting so many. Wolves reverted back to old habits, bad shots, bad passes, and no defense.
Well, the part that I saw wasn't bad defense. It was just bad offense was turning the ball over and giving them easy buckets.
Yeah.
They weren't even getting set up defensively.
Yeah, I don't know what to think. But there you go. So there it is. Let's go to break, if you don't mind, unless we're too early, if we got to straddle a little closer. Twins also lost, and they may have lost more than just a game. I don't know if there's been an update. I was out playing golf, so sorry I didn't do my research today. I don't know if the Twins have any further word on Pablo Lopez, who left the game last night. Did he say he felt something tight in his leg?
Mild hamstring.
Hamstring.
MRI today.
Yeah. And any results from that MRI or not that we know of?
Haven't heard.
Okay, we'll find out, but we'll get to the Twins before too long. I'm sure Tenneby will bring it up in 534. And maybe some other things. What you got, Tenna?
I'm currently Googling the translation for I'm back in Russian.